first thing I think our team has got to realize, we're practicing more full court and doing more type of situations and scrimmaging than we have at any point in time since we've been in Indiana. And in our coaching life, we've done it. But we're trying to get this team to understand that we've got to get out and play a 94-foot game. It doesn't mean we have to press the whole game, but it does mean we want to run. It does mean that we've got to create off of our defense. It does mean that we've got to be a team that we're trying to get to a point where there's not a big drop-off in our possessions from the first 10 to the last 10. And that's really, really hard to get to. And we're learning things. We're learning about mindset tonight. We're not a team that really understands yet how to just absolutely put that throttle down and keep it down the entire time. And we've got to learn to work through that. We're not going to be, we're not going to be a 7-man team. We're not going to maybe be an 8-man team. We want to build it. And if we're going to play the way we want to play defensively, if we're going to pressure the ball and have the activity that we want to have, then we're going to have to play a lot of people. And at the same time, they've got to be efficient. And that means the ball moves at a high rate. We defend at a high rate. We gang rebound on both ends. And we'll learn more and more about that. But for so long, this team is had to pace themselves to play minutes, and we've got to get out of that habit. And I thought we did a lot of good things inside of that tonight. And we've got to find a way to find guys that right now our team defense has got to carry us. And eventually we're going to have some individual guys that can really, really lock people up. And we're not there yet. We're not there yet. So a lot of room for improvement, but a lot of improvement was made. And I think, to me, to see the way the ball moved, to see again the fact with Cody, as we've said so many times, you can go at him and you can play through him. And I thought he was really, really good tonight at letting the game come to him. And early on, and there's an anxiousness for him to shoot and score, and he doesn't get caught up in any of that. There's nothing about anybody's expectations that rival his. I mean, it's very, very fun to coach a kid, young man like that really wants to make his teammates better. But at the same time, he can do so many things to impact the game. And I thought as the game went on, he did that. I was really happy with the way Christian guarded. He didn't have a great offensive night, and we're trying to get him integrated back because he's been out for a while, and he's really only had a couple of practices that I would say are Christian Watford level play practices. But he came in tonight and he defended at a time when we couldn't guard number 11, and he came in and he did a very good job. So we're still struggling with how much pressure to put on and how active to be and how physical we need to be. But at the same time, there's a lot of room for growth. A lot of room for growth. A lot of good basketball. I'm sure you'll have some individual questions, but it's not like I look out there and I'm real disappointed with anybody. So a lot of things for us to build on from tonight.
You know, the point guard play you got from Jordan, I don't think he missed a shot. I think he had 5 turnovers. Mm-hmm. No, I'm sorry, 5 assists, no turnovers. Talk about that type of.
It was very good. It was very good, and he really wasn't pressured. He's going to have to make those same plays and decisions when people put lock-up guards on him, and they didn't do that. But we need Jordan and Verdell to really play well together. We need Christian and Verdell to really have a top-notch energy together that maybe they haven't had in the past. So we're trying to get our identity, and I keep saying identity, but we're trying to get that. Okay, these are the things that we can count on day in and day out. We know we can do this. But our mindset has got to be one where we're constantly building and trying to attack. And like I said earlier, trying to be in a position where we're as good at the end as we are at the beginning. Jordan will have a lot to do with that because he's a very efficient, effective player who makes very few mistakes. But he's also going to have to do it as the pressure gets ratcheted up.
How much does that mid-range jumper from Sheehy kind of expand his game?
Well, he had it when he came, but he's really worked to make it better. And the two things that Will really had when he got here outside of athleticism were the pull-up and the offensive rebounding. The pull-up is efficient, the offensive rebounding is not there right now. And it's going to have to be. I think as we look at this team moving forward, there's going to be, I tell them all the time, you got to have a lot of different tools in your toolbox. Well, you got to bring them out. And right now, I think one of the things that's going to be one of the things that's going to be a separator on this team is your efficiency rebounding the ball. When are you getting a rebound? One every X amount of minutes is going to be really, really important. And I'm trying to get across to the players. And it'll take time for them to understand. But It's not about the minutes that you play. It's about what you do inside of the minutes that you play. It's the efficiency of the minutes. And for so long, I've said it so many times, the easiest thing to do at Indiana was to play in the games. And that's not it anymore. And it was starting to get that way last year. Then the injuries would continue to creep up. Hopefully we can stay away from that right now, knock on wood. But the bottom line is that we've got to do the most inside of that play. We've got to rebound the ball better. And Will's not the first guy that's got to take those steps, but he's in the first sentence.
What did you think of UIndy tonight and them going forward?
Oh, I think they're very good. I told Stan after the game, the way he blends those new guys with his returners, they're going to be very good. And we spent time showing the team and the Northern Kentucky tape and things like that. And you look at what they did last night at West Virginia. That is a great league. And my Division III background and being a fan of basketball for so long, you pay a lot of attention to those kind of things. And that league has been fantastic forever. And I haven't seen Bellarmine play this year. I haven't seen Northern Kentucky play this year. I know they're both very good. I would think Indianapolis is going to be right up there when they all mesh because they've got a good balance of outside shooting. They've got a guy that is very, very hard to guard. We gave him a couple open shots, but some shots he made were really tough. And still, I mean, O'Neal was injured tonight and played through that, so that's a pretty tough young man. So I'm impressed with their team. I'm glad that we did it. I think Stan's an excellent guy and an excellent coach. He's got people like Jeremy Tiers and Adam Martin on that staff that have known those guys for different years, and I'm really glad that we did it. I think they'll be good.
Coach, you talked about how in Thursday you said that the offense was kind of taking a little bit of a backseat to the defense in practice. You guys were still able to put up 90 points today, only turned the ball over 7 times. What were your thoughts on the offensive output that you saw?
Well, you know, I thought we didn't attack as much as we should have. I like the fact that we didn't have very many turnovers. They had 3 steals. They averaged 9 last year. So we wanted to take care of the ball. But I didn't think we attacked all the time. I thought we moved the ball well. I thought there were only a couple of times we'd ask for some shots back. When you look at it and say that was not a good one. But we moved it well. We probably shot at a pretty good rate. We've got to get more offensive rebounds. And we'll put sets in as we go. I was bringing things out of timeouts. They executed pretty well. But we've just got to be on the attack more. We've got to really get our running game going. One thing that we have not spent a lot of time on, and it's completely on me because we just haven't. We've spent way much more time in transition defense. But I think we could be a pretty good running team. And we got out a little bit tonight, but we did not attack on that break. And attack and press offense like we should. But heck, I put 2 press offenses in this morning. So we're behind. And that's what I'm talking about when I say that we're behind offensively. That there's a lot of things we haven't spent any time on. But if we move the ball, we share the ball, if we get it reversed, then good things can happen.
Tom got a little chippy, got a technical in the first half. Do you want him to?
No, I don't want that.
Well, not to get a technical, but do you want him to bring that kind of toughness to it?
That's not real hustle. You get into it with another, and I address that with him. I love Tom Pritchard, but I don't want that. And we've had referee directors in here the last couple of days. They're not going to mess around with that. So when those kind of situations come up, say something to the referee, say something to the coaches, say something to the referee. They can handle it, or they can check the monitor. I don't want guys doing that. That's not real toughness to me. Now, the way Danny Moore handled it, when he got popped and he got back up and he was angry, but he moved right back into it. Tom Pritchard's too valuable to be getting a technical. And I'm not going to tolerate that. That's why I didn't play the rest of the half. I love him, but we're not going to tolerate that. And we don't need that. There'll be a time and place where we got to stand up for ourselves. Tonight wasn't one of them, that situation.
Defensively, what specific improvements are you looking for from the team?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot. I think I covered a little bit of it. We've got to get better individually. As defenders, we've got to have guys that can just absolutely play at a point where they can really harass and frustrate somebody that gets hot. Our weak side defense, we got hurt early on some back cuts because we relaxed on the weak side. And again, it sounds easy, but it's very hard to just get more consistent on each possession. And there's a new grading system that we've put in, and that really takes into account not just what happened on that possession for the 5 guys that were there, but how the 5 guys contributed to it positively or negatively. Those are things that are going to be a separator for us going forward, and for years to come as we build this and bring even more talent to the program. And it's going to be competitive to play, but that's what the great teams have. The great teams are deep. You're not deep unless you have consistency. You're not deep unless you don't have a big drop-off when you go to the bench. It's just like you don't have depth unless it's consistent. If it's not consistent, then it's just bodies. But when you're consistent of how you play, well, now you can build your depth, and it's the same thing with how deep into it you can go. So with that being said, our defense is at the forefront of that. We've got to be better for longer stretches. We've got to be better inside of the possessions. You know, one guy makes a mistake, okay, that's 20% chance that you're not going to do real well in that possession. And it's really, really important that everybody understand what they need to do on every possession. And so there's where our improvement's got to be. It's constant.
What's helped improve the ball movement? I mean, has it been experience with guys like Jordan? How much has adding Cody helped with that?
Well, I think it has to be that way, first and foremost. I think they respect each other's talents. I think in the past we've liked each other. We're good friends. They hang at the mall. They go out to eat together. But I'm not sure there was always that respect for each other's games. And the only way that respect really comes is to compete against each other tooth and nail in practice. But to know that other guys can do things too. And I think what we've tried to really address and harp on with this team is that they're going to score points. And if we're going to score points that's needed to win at a high level, then we're going to have to get a lot more than what we've been getting. And it doesn't just come from one or two people. It comes in a balanced way. It doesn't mean that one or two guys each night are going to be different and they're going to bust off for a high level. But what's most important is that the ball moves, that there's balance. When you have someone like Cody, like I've said, that you can go at and that you can play through, I think that's really important. Big thing for us too is when we're in that bonus. And tonight we were in the bonus really early both halves, and that makes a huge difference in the game. Well, that doesn't happen on just catching the ball, isolating and driving. It happens on ball reversal movement, and I think we'll continue to learn that. It'll be a lot easier this year to get that across, because if the ball's not moving, you're going to have a hard time playing in the game. And unfortunately or fortunately, we could skip a few turns. But we've got to develop that quality. It goes back to his question about that quality comes from how you defend, too. So a lot of things go into it. But I think when you're working really hard on defense, too, you don't want to come down and take bad challenge shots. Teammates aren't going to tolerate that.
Last question for
Cody had a couple of pretty impressive, the intentional foul and the score, and then the dunk and got fouled. I mean, has he surprised you at all the way he's kind of, performed already for you?
No, no. And recruiting him as long as we did, there's been no surprise. No, we've worked really hard. As I just said to Coach Miller in the back, I mean, we've gone with all these long practices, and he wouldn't even have started practice a year ago in high school. So he's had to do a lot more earlier. And one of the things that separated him with Gene is how great their conditioning program was in the preseason. So we probably ran less in our preseason conditioning than they have in high school, but it was a lot different this year because it started so much earlier. So no, it was fun to see him under the lights like that and to see his efficiency. But again, it just goes, he is who he is. He's not going to try to force and press and do things that aren't there. And he's so skilled. He plays with great pace. We had a gentleman come in last week that said his pace that he plays at is really, really unique. And that's just what he does. And I think that's part of what makes him so successful is he never stops moving, he never stops playing. He doesn't get emotional, and he just goes. And I think one of the things that separates him athletically that's really, really underrated is how quick he is in a short space. I mean, he can cover ground in a very short, tight space in a hurry. And we had a situation, we came out of a timeout, we posted up. I'm not going to talk about that. That'll be giving up a play that I'm going to run. But he can really move, and you can play off.